This the people party.
Live from the Blue Note. Live from the Blue Note. Live from the Blue Note. Live from the Blue Note.
Live from the Blue Note. Come on. Peace and love, party people. It's Talib Kweli, the BKMC. You are now watching the world's, or listening to, the world's best podcast, The People's Party. I am your host. We are still at the Blue Note. Of course, the legendary Blue Note in New York City. We are enjoying our run here. Thank you for everybody who's tuning in and listening to the stories. And I love how the stories interact with the jazziness, because the importance of this club and what it represents to jazz music is very important. And today's guest has rapped on some great jazz samples. But beyond rapping on some great jazz samples, I don't know if I would be the artist I am today if it wasn't for today's guest. He has impacted me, inspired me, influenced me in many ways. He's my business partner in many ways. He's my friend in many ways. And he's helped me in ways that he probably doesn't even know. He's not just influential to me. He's influential to the whole hip-hop collective. He is a front man from one of the most legendary groups in hip-hop ever, Black Moon. He is from New York City, Brooklyn to be specific, Bushwick, Crown Heights, all of that. Shout out to the boot camp Clik. Shout out to Duck Down. They brought us Helter Skelter. They brought us OGC. They brought us Smith & Wesson. He gave us his verses on the Crooklyn Dodgers. Landmark albums like Into the Stage, Warzone, Total Eclipse, Rise of the Moon. He has solo work as well. He did an incredible album with my mentor, Survival Skills. Shout out to P Money. He did the Backpack Travels. We're going to talk about backpacks as well. He has worked with Tupac. Tupac gave him the name, the BDI Thug. And even though he's in the boot camp Clik, we are going to talk about sneakers. We're going to talk about Unified Purpose Global, whose mission is to unite people and deliver motivation, learning, and technologies and opportunities to the front doorstep of every person, family, and community. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my man Kenyatta, the BDIMC, the general of the boot camp Clik. Is Buckshot in the place to be. Yes.
Let's go.
Peace.
I don't know what you remembered way more than I did.
He's like, who is he talking about?
If I was ever interviewed by like the other guys, I'd be like, I really don't know what you're talking about, sir. Right?
Well, that's good. I take this job as a journalist as seriously as I take my job as an MC. And I got to speaking of that, I got to shout out this podcast, and I'm racking my brain to remember the name of it. It's a podcast that you were on. I think it's called Hip Hop 101. And I don't remember the name of the host, but this was the best interview I heard in a while, because for this show, I listen to a lot of interviews who do these deep dives. I still feel like I'm better than all of them. You know what I'm saying? But I watch all these interviews, and not everybody does a good job. Not everybody cares about the music. And too often people caught up in the clickbait of the now. But with artists like yourself and the people on the show, there's so much catalog and there's so much history. It's like, yo, I really try to take the time to get my memories together, to listen to every record. And particularly with an MC of your caliber, you're going to tell your story through your music. So it's one thing if you have talking points where this is a new album and this and that, but to really get to know you as an MC, I got to listen to the songs. You know what I'm saying?
That's incredible to say, because it's just never enough. It's never enough to say or to do, right? Sometimes you do these interviews and you look back on the interviews and you're like, damn, why didn't I say this? Why didn't I say that? You know, why didn't I get into this? Why didn't I get into that?
Right.
So like, I don't regret any, but sometimes I look back and I'd be like, damn, why didn't we get into this issue?
Right.
Or I've never been the type of guy to hand somebody a bunch of questions and say, here's what you asked me, even though that goes down in the industry.
Oh, it does.
Believe me,
it
right?
does.
But I've been that type of person to say, all right, let the guy, you do what you do best, and I'll answer. And I would always hope that the people come with something different. But a lot of times, people come with the same. How was it with how many MCs when you made how many MCs? What was it like to, remix I Got You Open? I mean, you get those questions so many times.
Right.
So it's like, who's going to dig and give me some stuff that, it's not.
reminds me of the Blues Brothers movie when they showed up at Bob's Country Bunker and Elwood gives Jake the piece of paper. He says, "What's this?" He says, "It's from the owner." He says, "Oh, this just requests." That means nothing.
I love it.
So first question, how did you make how many MCs? I'm playing. That's not the first question.
By being a BJ. That's
First question is, well, I'm going to start with a statement. Let's take a sec to think back. The year, the 7-0, where Brooklyn was the place to go. Crooklyn Dodgers, BK Hip Hop Festival. My man Seth was on stage. First of all, that's my man Seth Bird. You know him because he's from Crown Heights, and also he be the duck down man sometimes.
That's right.
Wearing the duck down man.
That's right.
One of my greatest hip hop memories is at the Brooklyn Hip Hop Festival performing Crooklyn Dodgers with you, Master Ace, Special Ed,
yes, sir.
And the Duck Down Man.
I remember. Yes.
That was a good time. Tell me about writing that song and working with Spike Lee and Q-Tip on that.
Oh, man, working with Q-Tip was incredible because Q-Tip was not only one of my favorite MCs, but when I found out that he was producing, he was an amazing producer. I didn't know that he did those type of tracks, that he did those beats. And what I mean by that is actually Q-Tip and Mr. Walt from Beat Miners know each other from something called the Music Factory back in the days, a record store.
Right.
And they was working
What's
with
Music Factory without Mr. Walt?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So Music Factory was Mr. Walt and Q-Tip, and they said be there all the time. And I didn't, obviously I found out a little later in the career that, Walt knew Q-Tip, and I was like, yo, man, that's some crazy, man. Like, we can't get a deal.
Right. It's crazy because the reason I kicked that lyric is because doing all these interviews, I was around for all that, but I didn't know that was the same Mr. Walt. I thought it was different people.
Yeah.
I knew there was a Mr. Walt at Music Factory in Queens, but in my head, Mr. Walt is Beat Miners.
Yeah.
I didn't think until recently.
Like, wow,
put that together.
was and it was for me. It was amazing because I was wrapped up in the flow. I was wrapped up in the flow. I was wrapped up at the fact that nobody at that time, I became conscious that nobody at that time was jazzy, was using more jazz in their flow and their rap. They were good rappers.
Right.
But nobody, I guess, didn't think about that or didn't do it as much. You know what I mean? Like, when a person says, I was the first one to do that, and you're like, but to be honest with you, to come in hip hop and the rhyme to like a horn, like, all those, I'm feeling another part of reality.
That's the horn.
Hit me when I represent the FAP. Straight from the do.
Right. I mean it literally when I say I make a killing.
So.
Yeah, man. And that Who Got the Props? Evil D's on the mix, and Walt and Evil D at Beat Miners. What they did was so jazzy, but y'all was so hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was the mix of the hardness with the
jazz,
jazzy shit.
yeah.
They killing every nigga in sight, but I'm killing every nigga inside.
Yeah, that's right. You know what I'm saying? So for me, bust a cap and crack a joke over your grave like Dolomite.
Right.
But I mean, Mr. Walt and Evil D were jazzy, melodic, I would say, real sonic producers. They're really sonic and melodic. And that's one thing that I love about them because they capture the night, which is what I'm all about.
You are all about the night. I remember going to the Palladium back in the days, and you were like, this is my new group, The Night.
That's right.
I remember this. And he brought out two girls, and they started singing, just give me the night. I'll never forget that. I was in the audience for that, and I was like, yo.
And you know what's funny is, once again, the hip-hop industry, because we came from a certain realm in a certain area, a certain criteria, I was bringing on things that I thought were the next level at that time.
Yep.
And
because early,
right? It was like people were like, "You sing and rap."
I remember this.
Smack.
I was in the crowd, bro, and people was upset.
Yeah.
Like, what's all this singing shit?
Yeah, you singing in the crowd, smack. Like,
right.
Where's the bust a rap? Do your thing, get up out of there, right? And I always was a risk taker because I knew that I had to kick the door in. The first one through the door always gets shot, believe that.
Did you see what Rock said on the show about you?
Yeah.
He said Buckshot took all the hits and all the bullets for all of us because he came first.
Yeah. The first one through the door always gets shot.
No doubt. On Who Got the Props, which is a great record, you say straight from Crooklyn, better known as Brooklyn. You I don't think you invented that, but on the mainstream level for the rest of the country and national, the first time we really heard Crooklyn.
It was Crooklyn. It's like Crooklyn, Brooklyn, aka Crooklyn. It wasn't like Spike Lee didn't make up the terms Crooklyn.
He heard it in those records.
Yeah, he heard it in the street.
In the streets, yeah.
Hoo.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, boy. Welcome to Crooklyn.
Right.
This is the land of the crooks.
That's right.
Everything we do out here is
we keep on taking it.
I mean, we keep on taking. It's like we have no choice. We have to make it. So most of the boosters and the hustlers and the hustlers, boy, with that mouth.
That
boy,
slick talk.
That slick talk is like a razor blade.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. One of my favorite records in your career is from I Am the Boss, Dear Daddy.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I told you, we gonna do this for real, Buck. This ain't gonna be like those regular interviews.
You just threw me way off from that. That's number one, that's an NFT project.
Okay.
Number two, that's an NFT project.
Right. This is what I told you already. Different.
You know what I mean? Like the average person is like, I don't even know what those acronyms is for. Like a non-fungible
token, which I don't own any of those.
Yeah. Well, NFTs is just simply something that you make and you own and you can make your own price with. I don't care what it is. But
regardless of how you got that record out, the fact that you made that record.
Dear Daddy was special to me because, obviously people made, a lot of noise about their mama from Pac. And it was like, there were maybe a few people who did something like that. I didn't really hear it. I don't never like to say I'm the only one, but I didn't hear it. Right.
That's right.
So I was like, no, I'm gonna make a Dear Daddy song.
Yeah. Rest in peace to Percy.
Rest in peace to Percy Blake. That song embodies the fact that my father would not let me at all take anything from anybody unless I earned it.
Yes.
My father would not play that.
My man's the Duck Down man over there. One of my favorite things about this guy is that we do all this industry shit, but he's also a plumber.
Wow.
And your pops was electrician, construction company.
Everything.
My still in the streets.
Everything.
Right.
I don't know how he did it.
I know how he did it.
He did everything. I don't know how he did everything.
He gave you that independent mind state, though.
Yeah. He gave me the independent mind state, the actions,
the work ethic,
the work ethic, the grind, the ability to adapt to anything. I'll be honest with you. That's if I could say one thing about my father and say, what's the one thing that you think he gave you that is like the most precious or whatever, I would say the ability to adapt to anything.
Word is bond. Shout out to your moms too.
My mom's is incredible. She hangs out.
She hangs out. I just was hanging out with her.
She hangs out.
We were at the bar with DJ Trace.
My mom's just like, look. My mom's just like, look, what's cracking?
What's cracking? We at Lyricist Lounge, right? Your mom's, you had left. You performed and left. Your mom's like, yo, what else is going on?
I'm chilling. My mom's like, yo, go ahead. You go home, Kiana. Right. I'm chilling. I don't need this,
Word.
Mama Buckshot.
She worked at a bar.
Yeah, my mom's is like the type of person where her energy is just that spur. It's just there. She's same thing. She's the type of person that is so cool that like she's just young energy, man. Yeah.
I think one of the turning points in your life is when she bought you linoleum.
That literally,
to dance
on. You are killing it, man.
Come on, man.
You are killing it, bro.
Here we go.
Not the average questions.
Nah, this is definitely not the average questions at all, bro.
This is your life.
This is some real. This is one of the best interviews I've done.
5 minutes in, he says
5 minutes in. And I'm like, yeah, my mom's, I wanted to dance so bad. And because Shabba-Doo Owens and obviously Boogaloo Shrimp from breakdancing had a big impact on my career. And when they did breaking, I just knew it. I knew it.
Yeah.
I said, that is what my world is. And my moms knew that I wanted to practice. I used to practice on cardboard and stuff like that. And one day when my mom finally bought me linoleum, I used to just carry the linoleum on my shoulder every day like it was a radio. Every day. And I would grab my linoleum and just be like, wherever we're going to practice or battle at, let it be so.
Right.
So New York.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's dope that she did that because she saw your vision.
Yeah.
That wasn't a popular thing for parents to be doing back then.
That
Paris
was
was like, get off that breakdance.
You know how big linoleum is to break on? He was walking around
She
with
was
damn
and she bought me a nice long piece.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
So the one of the crazy things is a lot of my impact in life is happens through I guess I wouldn't say a bad situation, but for some reason most of my life is always impacted by those type of things, right? Like one of my best friends, I met in a battle there with that same piece of linoleum, and that best friend was with me when I met Five, because you know when I met 5FT,
who's also a dancer.
Right. That's how me and the 5FT met. Through Mighty.
Right. Now, your uncle was also a dancer.
My uncle was so much of an impact on me to a whole nother level. I don't even know how to say it, because my uncle made tears come out of my eyes, mad times, because here I am watching, I'm doing this, I'm dancing, you know what I mean? My world is, and one day, they're like, Uncle Daniel is on TV. And I'm like, really? And I see him in Juicy video.
Right.
And there's a part in M2 and
not Biggie for the kids watching.
You know, and he was on M2 who Biggie had sampled for his first hit. And I see my uncle dancing and he's getting busy. He's getting busy.
I gotta see that.
My uncle put the cigarette in his mouth, chewed it.
Right. And he choreographed that video too, right?
Yeah, he choreographed it and he blew it out and he choreographed it. So those things were like amazing to me. I saw that and said, it's possible.
Yes.
It's possible.
Yes.
Not that it was amazing. It was impossible because this magic box plays you.
Yeah.
I saw it and was like, wow, this is possible.
We just had Havoc on here, and I asked him about the lyric, no matter how much loot I get, I'm staying in the projects.
Yeah.
And he said it's because I hadn't seen anything else to even know anything else is possible. And if you don't see it, you don't know it's possible. Yeah, that's real.
Yeah, you don't. You won't.
That's real. Now, you said you was walking around with the linoleum on your shoulder, but you also walked around with this radio, Little Man, all the time.
Little Man.
Yeah, shout out to Little Man, the radio.
Oh, I miss Little Man.
He gave his radio a name. That's some hip hop shit.
It is.
And you played The Blueprint a lot.
Every day. That was all I played.
KRS-One.
That was
KRS-One, that's one thing that we have in common is our love for KRS-One.
Yes.
You had this album with KRS-One, The Survival Skills. I'm on the album. You started posting the cypher recently.
That was a great job we did, right?
We did a great job. We did a great job. And it's like that time of my life, like I grew up on Black Moon and KRS-One. Now I'm in the booth. So I'm like, if you notice, there's like I was like, I'm gonna go first because these is my heroes. I was really trying to like impress y'all because I was looking up to y'all in that moment.
And the minute he said,
"Oh, really?"
We're not finished. We're going again, Quas.
Again, but then what's crazy is Buck came with the commonology and started run. I was like, oh god damn. That's what made me go again because I was like, Buckshot came after me. It's smash. I was like, shit.
And then Chris came out and just told a beautiful story.
Yo, when Chris rhymes, he sounds like he's already mixed.
Yes.
Right? When KRS-One rhymes and he gets in the booth, it's nothing else. He sounds like he's already mixed. His voice cannot go any lower. And yeah, like you said, that was life changing, man. I got an chance to do an album with my favorite MC.
Yes.
My favorite MC.
Yes. Shout out to FAP, Franklin Avenue.
Franklin Avenue Posse. That's
Can't
right.
stop me because my shit's
never slapped me.
That's right. Shout out to Reese Smooth.
Wow, man. Everybody just... Shout out to Reds Mick, who helped us get dressed for Who Got the Props.
Inside jokes. Now, around this time, you was doing a balancing act. You were dancing into music, but you was also into the street life. You was around a lot of street life shit at this time.
Heavy.
Was there an exact moment where you knew music was the thing you needed to focus on more than the streets?
Yeah. Yes. There was a point where I knew that music was the only option at this point. I don't know. Is like, can you talk about this stuff?
We could talk. I mean, as long as statute of limitations is you clear on that. That's, you know what I'm saying.
I'm good on the statute of limitations part. I was to say I don't know, but me and Five, me and Five were dancers. And then we got a call from my sister, and she said that 2 girls had backed out of her show that she had with a guy named Steele from her high school, who had a record out, MOST, and he had a show at the Apollo. Could we come and help her out? And I said, no problem. Called Five. Me and Five went up to the Apollo, and that's how we met Steele from Smith & Wesson. And at that point, we all knew that, because there was a lot of us. And I never really said, man, these niggas go deep. And that was the point where we kind of became boot camp, right? And that was important for me, you know what I mean? Because I was already coming from the streets, and I was doing a lot of hustling at the time, and my boy got locked up. I get a call from DR Period telling me that the guy that I used to hustle with, and he used to do the drug thing, and I wasn't really into the drug thing, but I was into the fire, that, you know what I mean? So at the time, I used to choose the name of the thing that I used to run around with, and that was the Buckshot. So I kept the name Buckshot, and because I kept the name Buckshot, a lot of people started calling me Buckshot. Yo, Buckshot, yo, Buckshot, yo, Buckshot. And that became my name. And the girl wound up calling me Buckshot Shorty one day, and that's how I kept the name Shorty. But when my boy got locked up, I got a call from DR Period saying, your boy is locked up. And I had we was going to go. I was going to go to Maryland too to go get the money, because we had needed the money for the show that we had to get dressed. And they arrested my boy, and I looked at Five and I said, Five, they locked up Reese. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, Reese is locked up. He's done. And what are we going to do? And Five was like, I don't know. And I said, we're going to have to rap ourselves.
We're going to have to rap ourselves.
We're going to have to rap ourselves.
Yeah. Shout out to 5 Foot, Evil D. Unique Images was the name of their group before then, right?
Yeah. And just to be really clear, I know a lot of people probably not gonna like this. A lot of people probably not gonna enjoy this part right here.
Okay.
But the all honest, God, the honest truth, and Evil D could vouch for it, every Five and everybody else, is that when me and Five were dancers, I was KB2. Five was KB1, because we both have our government names, and he's older.
Okay.
Black Moon was Evil D and Mr. Walt. They were a DJ group called Black Moon.
Okay.
They were not called Beat Miners at the time.
Okay.
Okay? You can clearly see the vision of us as dancers now coming saying, what are we gonna do? And we said we're gonna rap.
Wow.
So now me and Five is dancing, right? The same time that me and Five is dancing,
right,
we're dancing to some beats being played by Evil D.
Right.
So I'm dancing, and I said, yo, who are we dancing to? And Five said, my man. And I said, who? He said, my man Evil D. I said, wait, you know the dude that make what we dancing to? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, there's the fucking answer.
That's the answer. We got the factory right here.
Your man, bring me to your man, son.
Right.
Because we got to rap, and your man got the beats right here.
Right.
We got the answer. So we go over to E, and we became Black Moon.
That's crazy.
Now,
Overnight.
you were always a visionary, forward-thinking, because I feel like part of that is you having a spiritual foundation. You grew up as Muslim.
That's right.
Took your Shahada at 13.
That's right.
Yes, indeed.
Hanif Awan al-Sadiq.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Now, I met you when you were selling incense and oils.
That's right.
In
And
front
that
of
was way
Tower
before.
Records.
Yes. That
before before Video Music
all
Box.
of that.
Yeah. Shout out to
Before
John
all that.
Forte, my man Osage. And this was when I was first dabbling with 5%.
Word.
And first getting on the train and coming to the city. And man, I used to have my favorite oils and my favorite incense. And this was like a pack, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got a little Roy Ayers tape with the samples on it, some oils, some incense. This is how you got a girl. You had your pen and your pad, and All that.
Blue
you know what I'm
Note, your Blue Now, your
Blue Now,
Egyptian Must.
Egyptian Must used to have me pull mad stunts. That's the Redman lyric. The Calyx. You know what I'm saying?
All of it.
Calyx was a little sweet though. I used to cut it with the frankincense. I don't want to
Yeah,
get
frankincense and
I don't want to
myrrh.
get too much into it.
Frankincense and myrrh was
And
one of my
frankincense
favorites.
and myrrh, yeah.
Even though one dab of that
too
will
much.
last for a month.
This is mad strong.
I used to take the oil and put one drop of that frankincense on the light bulb.
Oh, it's over.
It's over the whole house. It's
The whole house is lit up. The whole house is lit up. Put a little
The whole
dab
house smell
too.
like that.
But my mom used to be like, "Woo, you got the house lit up."
What do you mean? Listen, Medina was on Atlantic.
Oh, Medina. Is that where you went to, Medina?
Yeah. I used to go to Medina back
Right.
in the day.
The wholesale.
But like I said, my mom used to be like, "Yo, you got the house lit up, right?" Like,
Right.
So it was, my dad didn't mind because he was Muslim. My dad was 5%, and he was going by. And my dad actually used to hang out with Clarence X13, Joel
Oh wow.
Smith,
So he's
and all of that.
older God.
Yeah.
Firstborn.
Firstborn. One
Yeah.
of yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Maria Davis. Mad Wednesdays.
If it wasn't for Maria Davis, I wouldn't be on this stage.
That's right. A lot of people would not be where they at if it wasn't for those showcases that she was doing.
That's right.
Yeah.
So like, as much as
Jay-Z, they got the skit on the
22.
Oh yeah,
22
with Maria Davis,
Yeah.
like bringing Jay-Z and Damon them out.
Yeah. I mean, during that time, once again, I remember Clark.
Mm-hmm.
We did a show. I believe, I don't remember what club it was. I keep seeing BB King's in my head, but I remember Clark coming out, and we was right about to come out. We was on fire. I don't
You had
care what
Unsigned Hype,
Yeah, we had Unsigned Hype,
which
back
was a
in the
big deal.
stores.
That was a big deal back
Yeah,
then.
right.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like probably a little later. Might have been like 2 years into the whole Black Moon career thing, and Clark comes to me and he goes, "Yo, I got an MC. Can he bust a rhyme for you?" And I just heard that, and then I turned around and he says it again, like, "Yo, can my man get on stage?" And he says, "My man Jay-Z, can he get on and rhyme before you go out?" And I was like, I looked for the mic. I was like, hell yeah. Like, I'm that type of dude. Like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So I grabbed the mic. I gave it to Hove, and Hove went out. And when Hove went out, he just started spitting rhymes. Spitting. And this motherfucker killed it. Right? And I'm sitting there looking, going, yo, this motherfucker's killing it.
Right.
Right? And he murdered it. And he said something to her. And at the end, boom. And the crowd just, ah. And I was like, no. That's what the hell I'm talking about right there. Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? He had the big chain and everything. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about right there. You go out, you murder everything, and then you like, no matter who was the hype, the headliner, you body it.
Right.
And I was like, that's how you know Hov was undoubtedly Jay-Z. That's
right.
why he is Jay-Z.
That's right. Now, at that Maria Davis, that's where you meet Chuck Chillout at, right?
That's where I met Chuck Chillout.
Right.
Maria Davis, I was an MC intern. I'm sorry.
MCA?
And I was at, MCA, and I was working for Hank Shockley and Keith Shockley, who's the
Bomb Squad.
And they made, tracks for Public Enemy and everything. And that allowed me to go to this party.
Okay.
Actually, that allowed me two important things. I gotta mention Juice.
Yeah, you were a curator in the soundtrack, right?
Yeah, I was working on
crazy.
the Juice soundtrack, and the crazy thing about working on the Juice soundtrack was I was told to go by, Keefin, to go around to everybody and get their music for the soundtrack. So one guy was Orange Juice Jones.
Oh man.
Oh,
Right?
wow.
The Jew.
Right? And that was my first time going, and I was like expecting to be like, yo, like
Right.
I'm Orange Juice Jones.
Right.
This is crazy. Like, and I go to him, to meet up with him, and he was like, yo, come into the store, man. I'm hungry, something. And we go to the store, and this dude gets a 40 and a bagel. I was like, yo, wait a minute. Nah.
A 40 and a bagel.
Even I'm not that dumb. Like, how come? Nah. Something ain't right here, bro.
It's a $4,000 links.
I'm like, yo, this dude get a 40 and a bagel? He pulled out a couple of dollars, and I was
Right.
like, I don't know if you got the bread. Like, I don't know, because I know that flex, dog. I'm from Brooklyn.
Right.
Nigga, you know what I mean?
Right.
So when I got that,
40 and a bagel, that's about $2. At that time.
At that time.
At
it
that
was
time,
probably
because the
about
40 is like
$3.
$1.69 at that time.
And he got a buttered bagel
That's
with
like
jelly.
a 75 cent. You could get that for 50 cents, right?
You got a buttered bagel with jelly. You didn't even get no meat on it.
Not even no
nothing.
poppy seeds or nothing.
Nothing. It was just plain bagel. I said, yo, you know what?
The one with the butter on it, wrapped in the plastic already.
I was like, all right, I'm done. You can't fool me.
He said, I got it.
I think I got PSD, whatever they call that. For real, because at that point, I was like, I knew that rappers wasn't what I thought it was cracked up to be.
The rhetoric didn't match the reality.
There you go. And then from there, believe it or not, I got a call saying the House of Pain was shooting a video. And I was like, that's it. That's my chance right there.
Right.
And I went to the video of House of Pain because I was supposed to collect everybody's stuff. And when I went to the House of Pain video, I was like, "Man, I'm staying in the video." And I got in the video. So if you look in and jump around,
that's right.
jump around, jump up and get down. I'm in there holding Everlast. Me and him is jumping.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? So, and this was before I even got a record. So I was just wrapped up in being in the whole moment of doing, you know, trying to get on, whatever the case may be. Being able to do this show, but the show was a big show. Black Flames. That was the name of the group. They weren't big, but they were a small group and they were kind of locally known. And I was like, yo, she said, we have a show with them. And you can get on with them, but that's it. I said, perfect. So me and Five, Evil D, we went to the show. Black Flames goes on. She goes, all right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out. Da 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 da. I said, what? Hold on.
Y'all forgetting something.
Wait a minute. And I ran on stage and I said, Maria, no. I said, wait a minute. She said, Buck, I gotta close this down. The show, the club is closing. I gotta stop. I gotta close. I said, Maria, please, just give us one joint. Just give us 5 minutes. One joint. She said, okay. Go ahead, go now. I ran down the stage. I ran down to Evil D. I said, let's go. They're like, what? I said, let's go, bro. Right? So we get on stage. Evil D throws on the record, Act Like You Want It beat, and we didn't make no Who Got the Props, none of that at the time. So all we had was Act Like You Want It and some other joint. And we get on stage and we do the record, and she's giving me the sign like,
the light. You see the light?
yeah. So she's like, so after the second record and a half, if you get what I'm saying,
Yeah.
trying to do the second
Sneak it
record,
in, right?
But she's like, so we like, okay. And after that, we was like, thank y'all. And we just got up and we left. We leaving, and I hear a voice going, backpacks. Yo, backpacks. Meanwhile, we the only ones who wear book bags because we come from Franklin Avenue. That's what they wear around here. Backpacks.
Hammer.
Yeah, anything, right? So, Booster, really, man. So anyway, I'm hearing backpacks. I turn around, and I said, oh shit, that's Chuck Chill Out.
Right.
The DJ guy.
Right.
And Vibe was like, yeah. I was like, yo, man, let's go see what this dude want, man. Word up, man. I'm tight. Cause we just get a chance to do our whole show.
Right.
So I'm tight.
Right.
And he goes, yo, y'all want a record deal?
Yeah, sure.
I was like, what? And I was like, of course.
Right.
And he was like, take my number. All right, I took his number. I was like, fucking bullshit. Yeah, all right, whatever. Fuck out of here. Record deal.
Yo, that's a fact. Everything was like that.
Called him the next day. Yo, what's good, man? Like, what's up, brother? He's like, yo, meet me down at 42nd Street. Yeah, all right. Yo, Five, let's go down to 42nd Street. The bottom line is, let's just get this out of the way, because we know it ain't going to happen. And we get to Nervous Records, and Michael Weiss is like, what you guys got? So we show him what we got. And he goes, I love it. I want to do the deal. Me and Five stop like, wait, what?
Right.
Did you just say you want to do the deal? He said, yeah, I want to do the record deal. And I was like, meaning put out the record? And he was like, yeah, I want to do a record deal. So I was like,
You mean to put out the record?
yeah, I was like, oh, yeah. So next day we met and whatever. And I was like, we walked out, I was like, 5, we just got a record deal. Holy shit. We just got a record deal. And from that point, it got more and more into me that, you know.
Yeah, man, that's a beautiful, brilliant story. Thank you for sharing, especially the part about the backpacks. It's hilarious because I was part of that generation. You had an album called Backpack Travels.
Yeah,
shout out to P Money, and I like that because that was you working with Pro Era.
Yeah,
working with Tina Apex and CJ Fly and Chelsea Reject. These is people who was my son's friends, and my son Amani is here somewhere. This is his people. He's the one who introduced me to Joey Badass music. So
my people's my little homies, man.
Yeah,
and, shout out to the God.
Yeah, man.
I spoke to him not so long ago.
I mentioned the Lyricist Lounge earlier. You came out with a backpack on, and I appreciate that. This was last year.
Back. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Remember that.
So now y'all at Nervous Records, and you meet the intern there, Drew Ha, who was rapping, right? He had rap dreams.
Yes.
And I heard that.
I think that's why he was there.
Yeah. I heard that he wanted you to teach him how to rap, and you needed to know how to drive. So y'all exchanged skill sets. Can you tell me about this?
I went in to collect my money.
I do my research.
I went in to collect my money for the royalties. I thought we was gonna be out walking out of there with $1 million, whatever. I was like, yo, we on fire.
Right. Yo, who got the props? You see video music, but
that man who got the props. I got you open.
When I blew up at the spot last year on the box.
You
You remember when I blew up the spot?
gotta remember, Chuck Chill Out was our first manager.
Right. Cool Chip was cracking.
Right? So Cool Chip. Yo, you know what's fucked up is that it's how Chuck. You know I love you, man. You know I love you, Chuck, man. Don't even front at all. But you know how you used to sun the hell out of a shit. I used to be like, damn, man. Sun out.
Shout out to Cool Chip.
Yo,
man.
Chip, kick that Y over there, man. And Nervous, you gotta remember, Nervous comes from Chuck Chill Out.
Right.
Yeah, so that's how, it was called Nervous Records. That's what we were signed to. So Chuck Chill Out be like, hey, Money, you acting nervous? Yeah. You acting nervous, Money? I know you ain't acting nervous. You don't be acting nervous on me, Money. So that's where the word nervous came from. But yeah.
But your lawyer warned you not to sign that deal.
Yeah. My lawyer, he looked at it. He said, oh, don't do this. He said, I wouldn't sign this. I said, what are you talking about? He said, man, look at this right here. Da-da-da-da. And then, I'm like, man, fuck this shit, man. Later for this. I gotta do. I don't know about none of this stuff. That paper just says a bunch of stuff to me. And I don't have time to get into this stuff. I just know that it says we're giving you a chance to put out records like Rock Him.
Right.
Do you want it or not?
Or not. Right. And at that point, you don't have the foresight to know.
Nothing.
You're just like, this might be the only chance.
I'm just looking at that. I'm looking at a bunch of papers and I'm trying to redo it through my common sense, but it's just not making common sense.
Right, because it's legalese. It's not
legalese.
supposed to.
So I go to Mel and Mel's like, yo, don't sign it. So I get jerked, whatever. So I go to the label and I said, yo, listen, it's time to get my money. Can I have my money? And they go, you actually owe us. I said, what? He said, you owe us. I said, how could I owe you when you pay me this amount of money and my record's on fire? Everybody's buying it. How do I owe you money? What does that mean, I owe you? He's like, you're unrecouped. And when he broke that down to me at that time, I understood, but I still didn't understand. So I was like, you mother... Yo,
right.
All I know was like, you got me.
You got me.
You got me. And you know why I heard extra? Because I'm from Franklin, I'm from Crown Heights, nigga. And you don't do that.
Right.
You don't do that. We don't we don't, right? Meaning we do the getting, bro.
We do the getting.
You gonna get, you got me?
Right, you got me?
I fell for the old new wop, thief.
Right.
Okay, all right. I fell for the old new wop. Get you. Well, when I come back, I'm going to create a label, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to take this whole label down. And Mike, you know I said this, like, right? Like, I'm going to come back, and I'm going to bring my own label, and we're going to smash this whole scene. And I left walking out of the office, and I went to the other area, and I said, which one of you guys here is working Black Moon? Which one of y'all work? And Drew was the intern that was assigned to work in the
gave him
Black
the
Moon.
Jerry Maguire.
Basically.
Is anybody coming with me?
Yeah, that's
Who's
what I
coming
meant.
with me?
That's what that was the vibe.
Thank you, Drew.
That was the vibe. Word up, because
Right.
Drew was like, "Yo, I'm down to ride," and at from that point was conversations and just skipping along, and I forgot what that actual incident was, how we was there. Drew could probably tell a little bit more, but I know that I was like, "Yo, Drew, I can't drive," and Drew was like,
Brooklyn
"What?"
shit.
And I said, "Man, I can't drive," and I said, "All right, I tell you what." I forgot exactly how, but I said, if you teach me how to drive, I'll teach you how to rhyme. Because I wanted him to be on the stuff too. There you go, because Drew was a rhymer with my boy Gru, his boy Gru, the mastermind. And they had a group.
Right.
And I was like, you good, bro, but you're not bad.
Right.
You actually not bad.
He got a bar. He got a bar.
You just don't know how to hit the highs and the lows of the flow.
What's his bar? You the man,
My
A.O.
favorite,
Skills?
I mean, let me tell you my favorite bar.
What's your favorite?
I always get the pussy because I tell him down Spanish.
So that's Buckshot fault. Is that Drew
Was telling people he was Spanish.
in his bars?
You know, hey, you know what I'm saying? He had a good flow. He was
I'm
good.
glad you said that because I'll be honest with you. That bar right there, I've made fun of Drew for that bar about 4 times on this show. And I promised myself, I said, I'm not going to bring up the bar, Drew. I've been on you enough, so I'm glad that my man brought it up.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Like, you know, so I told him, I said, look, you teach me how to drive, I'll teach you the highs and the lows of the flow.
Right.
You don't know those. You just know how to rhyme. You don't know that there's spots, spaces, highs, lows, flows, and it's a lot of stuff. And I said, I'll teach you the highs and the lows of the flow. What does that mean? That means I'll tell you when to go. I'll teach you how to know when to go up and when to come down. When to go up and when to come down. Right? And he said, bet. So we got together and we went to some parking lot and or on our way home. And as I would drive with the stick shift, I would go, put the beat on, and I would go, rhyme, Drew. And Drew sitting there rhyming.
Literally, they are doing it.
And I'm sitting there trying to drive the stick shift like this. I didn't want him to get to the end of his verse. Because I wanted to drive more. So I'm like, no, keep going, keep going.
Well, I'm glad that happened because you and Drew started 3D distribution together.
Yeah.
And 3D is responsible for me putting out Gutter Rainbows and Radio Silence. These are gems in my career. And you and me, we're not on every phone call or every email, but I know that you have hands-on in my projects, and I know it because of you.
Everything.
You have helped me to be relevant. And you have helped me.
Everything.
Yes, I know. That's what I'm saying.
There's times, if I'm on Twitter right now till 2:30 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, answering everybody right now, people can attest to that.
I used to do that.
I'm everywhere.
Back when I was on Twitter.
I know. I told you how to get around it.
Yo, you can't breathe without me knowing it.
That's right. That's right. I appreciate you, Buck. Now let's talk about one of the most important pieces of art of all time, Enter the Stage.
Enter the Stage.
Hugely inspirational to me, not just because I'm like, yo, that's my man who sell incense. Not just because of the video music box thing, but just because of the art of it. Like, niggas talk shit. Jesus, the beat, the flow, this was a new way of doing hip hop. Slave was mad deep. Nobody was coming like that. Nobody was coming so dark, but with so much knowledge. You talked about people ask you about I Got You Open, but me and Seth all the time talk about how that remix opened the door for rappers to sing.
Yeah.
People wasn't really singing and doing the harmonies and melodies like that.
Was a harmonizing. Harmonizing, yeah.
And the same thing with the Buck 'Em Down remix. Have you ever heard Buck 'Em Down with me and Styles P?
Yeah.
I had to do that over because of how much that record meant to me. And that's the original we did over. But what, in your mind,
That was my joint too. But
which is better, the remix or the original for Buck 'Em Down?
I don't know.
What's your favorite? Because they're both so good. Because it's
don't
two
know.
different vibes.
I
the
just
same
go into
song.
a closet.
And that
I go
video.
into a mental zone,
And
right?
that
A mental
video.
closet, right? So and it's black in there, so they're all the same to me. Look, but the remix, I would say the remix is probably my favorite at this time because that was my father's favorite.
Okay.
My father was so proud of me for making that record. Like that record and Crooklyn Dodger was his two favorite.
That's beautiful.
That's fire.
Yeah,
That's fire.
That's fire.
So when we did that record, and I would also say the remix because in the remix we did the video, we did it with boot camp. We showed you we was a boot camp.
That's my favorite video.
We showed you that.
Take all my people from state to state. You
Yeah,
was
and
really
we
doing
showed
that.
you like we were a
you.
real boot camp. All those dudes that was lined up on them gates, like Thor, June, did this one, that one, this one, that one, other June. All those dudes were real boot camp. Their only job was to be
Boot camp.
Boot camp, if you know what I'm saying.
I do. Now, speaking of boot camp, I wore my boots. I wore my Timberlands today. Even though you making sneakers now, y'all traumatized us.
We got boots too.
I know, but y'all was like in Brooklyn. Y'all was like, "Yo, we not even." Back then, y'all was like,
Because
"We
we
not
wore
even wearing
Tim's all
sneakers."
season for ass kicking reasons.
Right. There we go. Now, I wasn't kicking nobody's ass, but I was running from police and all types of shenanigans in my Timberlands.
That's good for you.
Yeah, but when I was a teenager, I used to put the Timberlands on to go to school in the morning. And, you know, you go to school at, 6, 7, 8 in the morning back then, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then after school, you out doing shenanigans. And then we go to Washington Square and then rhyming in the park till it gets
I
dark.
miss Washington Square.
Right? And then we go into like the Muse and all that.
You're bringing me back.
You know
I
what
love
I'm
this
saying?
brand.
But the whole time I had these Timberlands on. As soon as we finish this interview, I'm taking these motherfuckers off.
Word.
Because you get to a certain age, these Timberlands become
Very
hard
heavy.
to walk around
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
See, what happens is y'all lost that calf muscle that you built up all over. Because I wear Tim's every day. My legs are strong as shit. I feel like I live in the
Well,
Bronx.
yeah, that too. I mean, you know, Tim's is upgraded and move graded, but yeah, we wore them because. We were known for them because people didn't wear them in the summer. Nobody wore boots in the summertime. People were like, they take them hot ass shit off, man.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It looked good with
And
the
it's a
shorts,
crew.
though.
Timbs and shorts.
Yeah, and it's
A good camo
how about
short.
that? And it's a crew of dudes.
Yeah.
A crew, not just one, but a crew of motherfuckers who are walking around and they got boots on in July.
Yes.
People are like, you guys are nuts. That's all we know.
Shout out to Smith & Wesson.
All of them.
You know, and shout out to Helter Skelter.
That's right. Rest in peace, Sean P.
Rest in peace, Sean Price.
Who was probably like one of the nuttiest dudes in boot camp.
The best.
One of the nuttiest.
Yeah, man.
Grade 8. Let's talk about it.
Kablow. Like,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we had the duck down van and he just did that thing with the pow with it, but it wasn't,
Yeah, we've heard some stories about the Duck Down van.
Yeah.
I heard one story of the Duck Down van being in Miami and Method Man pulling up on y'all and jumping in the van.
My experience is Omaha, Nebraska, from a drive. My brother, who also recipes, who was security at the time, we drove from Omaha, Nebraska, directly to New York. He was not playing.
Now, you have some sneakers here, right?
Yeah, you know what's funny is, 2012.
Let me see that.
2012, I came out with this sneaker called the T3 sneaker company, and at the same time, I did not know because I went on Sway. I did not know the day or the 2 days after Kanye, who's cool with me, was gonna come on and he was going through his own thing. So when Ye came on, Sway said, "Yo, why don't you do it like Buckshot?"
Like Buckshot, right.
Right? You don't need these people.
Right.
Just go in and do this. And the reason why I'm able to do this is because I own the factory with my partner Ray Wu. Shout out to Ray Wu too, and the Wu family. And it's a big factory. So he's like, "Yo, why don't you do it like Buckshot?" And yo, Kanye loses it. You don't
got the
know what you're
answers.
talking about. You don't have the answers. You ain't spent $13 million of
Right.
your own money trying to do this.
Right.
So if he said $13 million trying to do this, imagine how much it costs to get it done. To get it done. Let's not try.
That's right.
So that was important for me because I just wanted to bring hip hop. Because to be honest with you, we can get hoodie. That
You got
ain't
the
nothing.
hoodie and the hat.
Oh, you want a hat?
Right.
That's hip hop. You want a t-shirt? You want what else are we allowed to get? But you touching them sneakers, you better put them joints down. Don't you, because we got your mind locked on all these other things, because this is such an important piece of the way society is. So I decided to take on the hardest job and make footwear. But I knew I was going to catch so much slack from my own internal people than the others. I was loving it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I love a challenge. So I'm like, yeah. You know what I mean? I started working with different people, Terry Crews, Common, Karis one.
It's the Unified Global thing?
No, this is T3.
Okay, the sneakers, right.
Right, this was the sneakers. Because remember, when I made the sneakers, we made a family. We broke it down. Naughty by Nature, Onyx, Brand Nubians, Jizza. We all had our own footwear, like our own stuff. Yeah.
You and me talked a little bit about, we didn't never finish those talks, but we talked a little bit about doing something like that.
Yeah, it was everyone
you trying to give
down.
Everybody equity and power.
I was saying, listen, instead of doing one sneaker and everybody have it and wearing it, and everybody would know, here, you have your own sneaker with your own album. Everybody have their own sneaker with their own album. Go out and do you and promote it. And that wasn't normally done, nor was it done. Most of the things that I do are looked at like it's bananas because I'm such a short guy with a big capacity.
Yeah.
Right? So most people either overlook it and be like, or they'll look at it and say, that's just some stuff. I go back and rap, do who got the props, and then I'll love you again. And I personally love that. You know how some people hate it, or some people will get like, you know, I love it, right? Because it gives me the ability.
Towards the challenge.
Oh, I love the challenge.
Right.
Please deny me.
Please deny me.
Please.
Yeah.
Please
I feel the same
me.
way. And it's funny you mentioned Kanye because, you know, when he got dropped by Adidas, he was asked by a journalist, it said, so, you know, what do you think about what you had to say to Sway? And he stopped for a second. He was like, turns out Sway had the answers, which means Buck had the answers.
Right. Which means that if you would have just said, hey, you don't have to come to me. I didn't ask you to come to me because I got 2 factories, one in Korea, one in China, and they both have huge warehouses. I didn't ask you to come to me. Sway actually said you should do the things like. But if you was, you know, if you came to me, it wouldn't have been anything else except for Kanye. Here's the keys to the car.
Right.
You do you. Call me when you done.
Right.
And I wanted my brother to rise, and I didn't like the stuff that, you know, that he had to go through. But Kanye he's a genius.
Yeah, he absolutely is.
He's a nut.
And the sneaker conversation, he's a crazy genius. That's right.
Most geniuses
that's fair.
are considered crazy.
That's fair. The sneaker conversation came back into play because of not just the Adidas drop of Kanye, but what Kyrie was going through in the public space. And my son started burning his Nikes and throwing them in the incinerator.
Right.
And then me and my friends was talking about, you know, all the black sneaker companies that are out there that people ain't supporting, and your name comes up a lot.
Yes, it does.
Who's gonna support pumps instead of jumps? You know, look, see, the thing about me is I already know that slack, bro. So when I make footwear and my company, we have another sneaker company called LOMC, right? So I own the factory. And sneaker companies come to my factory and say, I want you to produce and tool and warehouse these shoes. I need 5,000 orders. That's my MOQ. Or I need 2,000. I need 3,000. So I'm pumping out product. Do you understand? So when people come to me, it's like when I do it on my own, my job was to make a practical shoe that people could wear every day on more of the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's crazy how your whole story, from your father being stressing the independence to selling the incense and oils to the situation with Nervous. I mean, y'all fought with Nervous, and y'all had to license the name Black Moon from Nervous.
Man, it was hell. That
sounds like hell.
The whole Black Moon story is hell, man. Black Moon story is a story of hell.
But it led you to the space where you own the factory.
Yes, and I think that I think that, you know, once again, look, the guy, every hell leads me to a heaven, right? Now this factory, the Wu factory and the Wu family are the ones who's responsible for making those first Jordans that y'all wear. That's why I said it's like a factory and people make them.
Yeah.
So we made those first Jordans and they made them and then came back and said we want to come back and support hip hop again because y'all always supported us, blah, 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 blah. That's when I came into the picture and said, I got your back. I'll
No doubt.
support you for supporting hip hop in the beginning, even though Nike told you no, they don't want to do business with you anymore. I'll support you and we'll come into hip hop and be independent.
Yeah. Now, another thing you did that was independent that people didn't understand at the time because of what the context of the time was, you started working with Tupac on the One Nation album.
Yep, and he was going to bring Death Row East. Remember? He said, I'm bringing Death Row East.
Yep.
And he was going to start his own label.
Tell me about that time, you're meeting with Tupac and your decision to work with him at a time when it was so volatile between the coasts.
It was warm with us and Biggie.
Yeah.
Already. We were not conscious. We were kids, bro. And when you look back and you look at kids having fun or kids making fun of each other, you know, even Tupac died at 25.
Yeah,
we were kids,
a child.
bro.
A child now.
So yeah, so we are on one coast doing stuff, and then I get a call from Tupac. And look, I'm just gonna say it, right? We was going through our own stuff with Biggie and his cat because we had made some fun of Biggie.
Right, in that video.
In the video.
OGC video.
In the OGC video. Okay? It was some drama behind that. A lot of shit. Gun drama, all that. And we had our own shit with Biggie. But we did not go to the West Coast because of that.
Right.
I want people to know that. I got a call from Tupac personally on my phone, on the phones too, and I spoke to him personally, and he said he wanted us to come out because he wanted to do the One Nation album. He planned that in jail. He has the letters written in jail.
Yeah, that's right.
So it wasn't just based around, oh, y'all got beef with Biggie, yo, we gonna make it strategic and da-da-da. No, it was not that. It was that Pac called us, and I'm a real dude. You know what I'm saying? So I don't care if you're in California, the desert, the jungle, the blungle, I don't care what you call it. Nigga, I'm from Franklin Avenue. What's cracking? Where you at? Feel me? So he called me like, yo, come out to Cali. Yo, we out in Cali. As soon as we get off the plane, the minute we get off the plane, this nigga didn't even get out of jail yet. Meet me at the studio. We go right from when he get out of jail, right to the studio. And we just start recording the album and started doing One Nation.
Right.
Where his goal was to make hip hop One Nation and get with Biggie at the end to show that it was really, the intent was to yell loud enough for everybody to
He
hear.
said as much at the time during interviews, but the drama and the press was so hot that I feel like a lot of that was being overlooked. He would say, and Pac was he was volatile as well. He was angry. He'd been in jail. He was dealing with a lot of street culture and gang culture. But he said, really, I'm doing this One Nation project with these dudes to show that it's not an East Coast, West Coast thing. And he did say in one interview that at some point he wanted it all to come together.
That was we used to be in a crib, and that was his thing.
Yeah.
Simple and plain. We used to be in the crib, and that was his thing. Meaning, I want to link with Big. It ain't Big there. That's my brother.
I was around. I spent time hanging out, smoking blunts with both of them together.
That's
so
crazy.
I was around to witness the camaraderie and love.
Well, no,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was real. It was real.
It was real.
Yeah, that's right. It was real. And Biggie, and Biggie played it back, which was smart, which was cool. Biggie was like, look, we're not going to
say nothing.
Ain't going to get into this like this. You know what I'm saying? Because I already know that, a lot of this is bigger because of the press and the public and all these other people that when it start to come down, I'll be able to deal with it. But it was Pop going, because you're not dealing with it, I'm turning it up while you're trying to bring it down.
Yeah.
And then, but eventually, we got to show people that it was really just a me and you thing. And I had some issues with you, and my issues with you became public because you did things that I feel like that made it public. And then you may say, well, I didn't do that. You did the. So that was like those two brothers, they had to have their own. And that was what One Nation was about. It was about us bringing all of them two together to have their own moment. And they literally was going to throw their hand up. Pac was going to ask Big, could they hold their hand up?
Yeah. He comes from revolution. He comes from revolutionary. So even though he's at, you hot and hot-headed in your early 20s, but imagine if Pac and Biggie had survived, what kind of revolutionary mind state they would be on.
It would have been so incredible that the next level, and I feel unfortunate that the higher powers that be took advantage of that moment, and now our brothers are not here.
Yeah.
The powers that be took advantage of that moment, and now our brothers are not here.
I appreciate you speaking on this because I know it could be a sore spot when you're that close to it. A lot of us are just fans, but you was right there in that mix. And you see this with the Math Hoffa situation when you had your brothers Tech and Steel speaking on it, and the conversation got heated. Because they was there talking to people who wasn't there, and it became volatile.
Yo, do you know what it's like to be Buck? Dog, do you know what it's like? That shit still fucks me up to this day.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because I say, if I knew, I would have, the whole shit would have been different.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if I'm sitting here with Kweli like this every day, and you are fed. I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Nigga, you are fed. You work for the DOJ. You are a fed. You a plant. And I used to be like, I don't like this dude, man. I don't like him.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, and Pac used to always say, I fucks with your brother, Thor, Big Thor. He said, I'm gonna steal your brother, man, watch. He gonna be my bodyguard now. Mm-hmm. But this dude, who was Pac's bodyguard, he was a plant. Mm. And he came out and he said he was a plant, and he said the whole, and I was like, that's why I knew I didn't like you for a reason. I didn't like you, dog.
Vibes don't lie.
You don't speak. You don't say nothing. You don't talk at all. You don't get wrapped up. You don't, none of it. You just, with the gun on your hip. Mm-hmm. All day, every day. Mm. I know you gotta do that, but I don't like son. I don't like his mustache. I don't like his attitude.
Right.
I don't like this. Something give me vibes about this dude. Then to come out later and be like, yeah, I was a fed. I was a plant.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nigga, you was that close to me. I knew it. So, unfortunately, like I said, the powers that be took advantage of the situation of our brothers not being here.
Well, thank you for sharing that. It's such an important part of our history to hear that firsthand knowledge from not just a blogger or a journalist, but someone who was an artist and a brother who was right there with Pac at that time. Shout out to Knife Wonder.
Shout out to Knife.
No pun intended, but you and him have great chemistry.
That's why we made the formula.
There we go. And that's the solution to our problems.
There you go.
There we go. What is it about what Knife Wonder does that doesn't just suit you, but also suits a lot of boot camp?
Number one, Knife likes you to come down to record.
In North Carolina, you got to go there.
Gotta go.
Yeah.
He won't record with you.
That's right.
There's a different energy there, obviously.
Yeah.
Producers nowadays all do the regular. They send the track, you get the track, and then you do it and you send it back, blah, 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 blah. But Knife is the old school way. Knife is like, yo, you're going to come in, we're going to record this song, and after we record this song, we mix it and whatever. But I want you to be here when we make this joint.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole vibe of how he produced with Jay-Z.
That's right.
He produced with this one, that. He doesn't care who it is. You're going to be with the person.
That's right.
And I think that's what makes Knife special.
Yes.
Because he just got this way of working, man. He's making his beats. He be zoning into his beats. And as he's zoning in, you're just getting like an influence of knowing, I got to come with some shit.
That's right.
I got to come with something that's ill because Knife is not playing on that production.
That's right. You said half these niggas who rhyme wouldn't know how to flow in their lines if it wasn't for BDI in his prime on that record. You also said a lot of criminals with you that might have been relying on crime.
Yeah.
That's a real bar right there, bro. For real. I'm glad you put that out there. Also on these projects,
wow.
You go from Black Moon, which was guns, to like, hey, maybe we should knuckle up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like this growth on the projects.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's crazy because when contracts and all that. Guns. When I think about the Buckshot Shorty, you know, that's this motherfucker was crazy. And yet at the same time, like you said, I was going through my father's situation. I was going through trying to get us off nervous at the same time, like produce music. And at the same time, organize a crew of, you know, boot camp. Just, man.
You did it.
Pain, bro.
Pain.
Pain.
Word. Thank you for having me on that. To Hold You Down to Tyler Woods is a great record.
Thank you for being a part and believing in us and believing because a lot of people, like I always tell people that the reference of your independence and stepping into the independent world and people understanding that it's not a thing of duck down. Because I don't represent that. I do not represent come sign to my label.
Right.
I don't want you to sign to I want you to have your own label.
Right.
And I just want to give you the knowledge that you need or help that you need to do it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
If you got the rest on your own, do it, whatever it is. But I don't want you to be on no artist.
It was lovely. I mean, doing that song with y'all, doing the video was fun. Touring with you was amazing. And I want to say this right now. You're one of the best, sharpest, most on point performers I've ever seen perform.
Oh,
I mean, you
thanks.
take that show seriously, and I'm a guy who does a lot of shows.
Yes,
and so
I
I've
do.
toured with a lot of people.
Yes,
you know,
I do.
you stay ready for the road. You stay ready to hit that stage.
I'm a performer.
Yeah.
I'm a performer. And I come from George Clinton.
Yeah,
I come
man.
from George Clinton.
Yeah,
I'm
who's
from
still going to this day.
That's right. I come from Parliament Funkadelic.
Yeah.
That's what I proudly would tell everybody. I come from James Brown.
Yeah.
Those two individuals are the ones who did it for me.
That's
if you
right.
ever ask, why is he such a performer? That's because of James Brown and George Clinton.
Yeah, if you ever have a chance to see Buckshot on stage, do that.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Sir. That is
Absolutely.
because those two dudes.
Now, one thing I do like about Boot Camp Clik in general, and you and the whole crew, is that y'all know how, y'all hustlers, y'all know how to make money, but y'all take y'all money and you take your energy and you invest it back in the hood.
That's right.
If you go to Buckshot's Instagram, you see him investing in stores and investing in neighborhood things.
Yeah, I love it.
It's super dope.
I love the challenge.
Super dope. Why do you feel like that's so important for you to do?
Because I love the challenge. I don't know why I'm so addicted to challenge. And when people think...
That's where the greatness is found at. That the greatness is someone saying, no, you can't do that. And you like, watch me do it.
You know, when people think, of a grocery store, right? Shout out to Jada Kids, by the way, who has this coffee.
Yes.
I love it.
Good.
And Styles, who has this juice.
Yeah, pharmacy for life, juices for life.
Oh,
It's beautiful.
man. You know, Jada has coffee, man. These are the things that these are the things that make me my world go around. Do you understand? Because I got a lot of different things that I love challenge. I love when someone says, oh, you're just a rapper. You cannot be, or you're not supposed to be, or da-da-da. And then when people look for the success of those things to be attributed to numbers, right? Like, oh, you're not Kanye West. You're not a billionaire known for blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So your projects are half-assed. So
Right.
you can't complete not knowing that these things are already kickstarted and already moving into that. It's just that I'm not waiting. If I look out that window right now, I done seen about 10 people, all right? Maybe 15, 20 people. But I guarantee you that all 20 of those people aren't walking around going, Jordan 1s, Jordan 1s, Jordan 2, Jordan 1s. They're not robots. Each one of those people have a reason for wearing shoes, practical shoes. And it's not the same as our culture and every other culture. So I want to make shoes for the world and make things for the world.
Yes.
And that's the challenge. The challenge is, no, Buckshot, you can't. You can only make another Who Got the Props again. I got you open twice.
Right.
Buck them down for the second time.
Right.
The remix.
Still bucking.
Still buck them down. Enter the stage one more time. And I don't mind, the fact that I wear that champion belt, and I wear it proudly. And I evolved that champion belt to the Knife Wonder green belt. I evolved that to the red belt with Tupac making an album that if he was here, this shit would have been collected as one album with Bitches Never Call You Bitch Again, Brothers at Arms, you know, Soldiers at War, blah, blah, blah.
These were all part of that album.
Yeah, all part of that album. And I would wear those belts as different belts. Do you understand? Not as trying to just stay in one area and be like, you know, live off of this forever. Because it's like, nah. You know, this is who you dealing with. You dealing with Buckshot, you know, and the word buck, like, you know, when they used to say with Slave Master, you know, we got to buck break him. You know, he's not listening, man, and buck break him. The horse is bucking, you know, he's rebelling, right? He's not. Well, that's what I am.
That's right.
I'm born to rebel. I'm born to go against the status quo. I love it. I'm made for it. So anything that is the status quo and y'all raise me to it, believe me, I'm going to take it to a next level.
And the world is better for it. Thank you for doing this show with us. Before you go, I just want to ask you to break down Unified Purpose Global, because I feel like that encapsulates everything.
Well, I appreciate even being in, you know, the space of having me to have that opportunity to break that down, because you know, Unified Purpose Global. A lot of people don't know that I've been into tech. I've been verbalizing that I'm into tech. I'm high into tech. I'm high into the digital community. So a lot of people don't know that 3D was actually Duck Down Digital. And then we went Duck Down Distribution.
Okay.
So Duck Down Digital is basically was Envision were two companies. Those were companies back then that we had created years ago because we knew that all of this new stuff was coming.
Yeah.
We knew that we knew that you were not going to be able to stream a record soon. We knew that these records are not going to be put out those old ways anymore.
Right.
And we had to make a new way and a new foundation for people to do the things that they did. We work with you on a distribution level, but what about the rest of the world on the decentralized world? What about them? Should they always come to Buckshot? Should they all depend on Buckshot? No. So I just made a platform where they can just go themselves, put out the record, put out the project, and let the people judge it.
Yeah.
And that was risky for me. Because the traditional mind is, Buck, you're going to open up your own Spotify and let people start judging the records from there. And I said, it's only right. It's only right. Because if anybody judge you, it should be your people.
Yeah.
Or dictate your success. It should be the people that know you the best.
Yeah.
And that's why when people come to our platform, they're like, okay, I fucks with Duck Down. You know, I rock with what Duck Down doing. They just leaving me alone. They're letting me do me. And that was the most important thing. So, you know, Unified Purpose Global is basically bringing the whole world together on one platform to say, here's where you guys can work and do your thing digitally for the future. And once again, like again, thank you, right?
Yes.
Because we don't have the opportunity to be heard. That's the main thing. We got ideas. We're great at creating things. We're great at making projects, sneakers, hoodies, hats, and so many different areas. But we don't have the voice for it to be heard. And that I appreciate, you know, you giving me the opportunity to have that voice to be heard on production, because it does make a difference when people get it from that level.
Well, we love and appreciate you, brother. Straight from Crooklyn.
I didn't get anybody in trouble today as well, right?
Not yet.
I did a good job.
No, you did a good job. Give it up for Buckshot.
I did a good job.
You did a great job. Buckshot on the People's Party. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.